Hey, it's Matt Webley here. Hope you're doing all right. So I want to talk about it's a numbers game, right? It's a numbers game. Business, to a certain extent, is a numbers game. And I think getting this over to new AI SaaS founders is really important. Because what they all do, they all think, oh, I'm going to build this app, right? And usually people get stuck on an idea. But if you get past the idea stage and you plan it out, you create your PRD, you put it into Replit or whatever AI agent you're using to do the coding. And then you've got some software there. And you spend the next few weeks or a couple of months building your software, and you get to a point whereby you're like, oh, this is actually really good. And the truth is, you can build in 2 months what used to take 2 years. And it probably costs you less than $200 to build it if you do it the way that I teach it. Plug in Claude Code into Replit. 2 months, less than $200, done. And that would have been a $250K, 2 years project with 1 or 2 devs that are relatively kind of cost-effective ones, maybe based in Ukraine or Turkey or somewhere. So like 2 years, 200 plus grand, 2 months, $200. That is how it is now, and you can do it with no code, just using the AI agents. It's like magic. But then people go, now what? Now what? And I'm seeing this with my mentees. I was hoping they would speed through the development, but they're all perfectionists. They all wanted it to be perfect. I was banging drums saying, look, time to release, time to launch. And I've had 2 of my mentees now say, yo, you were right, Matt. I'm increasingly getting people say, you were right, Matt. But it's good because at least they acknowledge that I did try and guide them in the right way. You know, but perfectionism, I often think, is procrastination. And progress is better than perfectionism. But anyway, they're all getting there. They're all getting there. I've got a bunch of clients now that have got SaaS that should have took 2-3 years and 200-300 grand built out. And they are fractions, pennies on the dollar of what it should have cost them. And they've done it all themselves using AI and using my strategies and my techniques and all that stuff. So yeah, they're at the stage whereby they've got SaaS. Now, a bunch of them are moving into that kind of promotional stage. Now, I think that it's very normal for newbie entrepreneurs, maybe you if you're watching this, to think, okay, AI built the software with your guidance. Obviously, you are the architect. You're not the bricklayer, and you're not the bricks, you're the architect. You essentially tell the bricklayers what to build, and the AI is the bricklayer, right? But it's like, I think because they see that as such an automated process that's fun and enjoyable, they think that come launch period, and I'm not talking about my clients, I'm talking about everyone that's getting into this game, they're going to click a button and the AI is just going to send them customers. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Business doesn't work like that. Now, I'm not saying that you won't find certain strategies that would really work well for you and you can dial them in, and then it feels a little bit like that, but getting to that stage, you've got to put the reps in. You've got to do the numbers. So I've had one of my clients, I've had a call with him today. He's reached out to 59 people, right? Not a cold outreach, but not far off. So essentially, he started doing outreach. 59 people, and 19 responded, and 12 people responded positively, expecting him to move forwards with the next thing. Now, you might go, what, you reached out to 59 people, and he did this mostly automated actually, but reached out to 59 people, and out of those 59 people, only 12 of them responded positively, as in, yeah, let me take a look kind of thing. You might see that as really bad numbers. I think that's great. That is double thumbs up. That is awesome. Like, now the problem is, people think, well, if you reach out to 59 people, maybe you'd get 30 customers, 35 customers. It's not like that. It's not like that, right? Let's say, I'm not the best with analogies, but imagine you're on a dating app, right? and you're swiping right or whatever, right? And as a bloke, I've never been on these dating apps, legitimately haven't. I'm not just saying that. I've been in a relationship since these dating apps came around. And on paper, I'm like, these dating apps have made things really cool. You don't get rejected, blah, blah, blah. But actually, I think they've probably ruined the dating game from what I can understand from people that are on them. And I think it's probably become some toxic, throwaway, disgusting mess. And I'm really glad I'm not single. But like, you get your profile dialed in, and that's like getting your sales letter dialed in. And then essentially, you start swiping right or whatever these things do, right? Imagine if you went into a dating app, and any males that have been on the dating apps will probably be able to say, yeah, I resonate with this. Imagine thinking that you're going to swipe right 10 times, and out of those 10, maybe 8 of them were going to respond to you, and maybe 5 of them were going to want to go on a date with you, and maybe 2 of them were going to want to sleep with you. Like, I imagine somebody naive, using the analogy of business to dating apps, would probably think that that's the case with business. It's not like that. Imagine a dating app is like if you were to use a cold outreach strategy, email or DMs, cold outreach. So you've built your app and now you're doing cold outreach to people. It's like swiping right 10 times or sending 10 DMs or 10 emails to people and expecting 5 of them to reply and maybe 3 of them to become customers. You wouldn't expect it in a dating game unless you're a 9 or 10 out of 10. Perfect looking male with your profile dialed in perfectly. You've got your lifestyle images, you've got a 6-pack, chiseled jaw, you're looking amazing. You're like a 10 out of 10 guy. Maybe if you're swiping right on 10 girls and you're a 10 out of 10 perfect guy, maybe you do get like 2 or 3 people wanting to go on a date with you. Maybe it's better than that. I don't know. Never been a 10 out of 10 and never been on these dating apps. But for normal mere mortals, from what I understand, you can swipe right 1,000 times and maybe you get a few conversations, of which most of them don't go anywhere. They're seeking validation or whatever. Well, it's not really any different to building a business, you know. I'm not talking about AI SaaS. I'm just talking about any business, right? Most people that see your offer aren't going to become your customers. They're just not. For example, this channel, right? I might make videos, and let's say it's not a big channel. I don't really try very hard. I don't do thumbnails. I don't do titles. I don't do descriptions. I don't care about tags. I get loads of people saying, you're doing everything wrong. I don't care. If I had to do anything other than chatting on my balcony, I wouldn't do it. So I chat on my balcony, I make a video. Let's say 200 people see it. Out of those 200 people that see it, like, most of them, if not all of them, are never going to become a client of mine, and I have to accept that. I have to give away free value knowing that 97% of people that watch my stuff will never ever give me any money and ever be a client. I have to be okay with that. That is the thing. And referring back to what I said in the early days of this video, it's a numbers game, right? So 200 people watch my video. Like 97% of them are never going to be clients ever. And of that video, you think I'm booking 6 calls off a video? No. If I get 200 views on a video, I'd be shocked if I got a call booked, right? Because they've got to spend some hours with me. They've got to watch maybe 7 videos, 10 videos before, out of those 6 people out of those 200 maybe regular views, maybe those 6 people over the course of 3 months, those 6 people out of the 200 will book a call, right? Now so imagine a funnel, 200 people in at the top. Over the course of maybe 3 months, 6 of those 200 people book a call. Now, reality, out of those 6 people, 2 or 3 probably aren't going to turn up for the call because they don't value my goddamn time. I'm turning up for the call. Usually I've had to drop everything I'm doing to turn up for that call. I'm not sat there at a desk waiting for your call. So 2 maybe out of the 6 don't turn up for the call. And then out of the 3 or 4 that do turn up for the call out of those 6, so we've gone 200 to 6 booked calls maybe, over they're not from that one video, from those 200 same people watching maybe a month or 2's worth of videos. So get 6 calls out of those 200 people. Maybe 3 of them don't turn up to the call. And out of the 3 calls I do have, probably 2 are going to say it's too expensive. And then 1's going to buy. So I could go, wow, I've had to have 200 people, touch points with 200 people over multiple videos over 2 or 3 months to get 6 calls, for 2 or 3 to ghost me or not turn up to the call, for 3 calls to happen, 1 buys. Okay, but when that 1 buys, they come into a high ticket mentorship program and I make good money from it, right? And then I'm going to spend the next few months of my life helping them build a business. They're getting way more than they're paying for. Some people, they're just not in that price point. It's 1-to-1. I've made $23 million. How much do you think I'm willing to sell my time for? I can tell you right now, the only reason my mentorship is as cheap as it is right now, and some people think it's too expensive. Of course, if you think I'm going to sell you 3 months of my life for $500, then you're on cloud cuckoo land, you're on another planet. My program is very cheap for what you get, but for a randomer that doesn't see the value in it, it's very expensive. But it's very cheap for what you get because I am aiming to get a bunch of testimonials. In 12 months' time, when I've got maybe 5, 10 people making 10, 20, 50K a month, and I've got testimonials to show you, and it's not just my story of making $23 million, I can go, these random people that have never built a business before, never had any success before, never built software businesses before, never had experience with AI before, these random people off the street are now doing 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, 50K a month, and I've got 10 of them, my prices aren't going to be as cheap, and what I charge now for my one-to-ones is what I'll charge them for my group. And that's how it works, right? So I put in the reps right now. I make the videos knowing that of the 200 people that watch them, 94 of them are never going to book a call, never going to give me any money. They're going to watch my videos. Maybe they like them, maybe they watch a bunch of videos, and that's okay. That's the grind, right? For somebody setting up a high-ticket coaching business, a mentorship business like I am with this channel, that's my grind, right? So I'm grinding to get the views, albeit not optimally, because I'm just doing what I enjoy, and I wouldn't do it if I wasn't. So I'm enjoying this. I don't need this. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. So I'm grinding in a fashion. I'm making videos knowing that I'm not going to get more than 200-300 views a video, knowing that a handful of people are going to like my message, they're going to like my personality, they're going to like my style, they're going to go, this guy talks sense and his videos aren't like everyone else's, they're not all glitz and glam, he sits on his balcony talking from a place of experience, trying to give value, and some of those people will go, I want to work with him now, and that might be 3 months from now. My mentorship program's not even open, so even if you go down below, click the links, there's no call slots, because I'm not opening them until 2026 anyway. There is a waiting list, you can add yourself if you want it, and then when I do open it again, you'll be first to know. I'll probably mail that list before I even make any videos or tell anyone that it's open again. But that'll be in 2026, not 2025. I'm only working with people that are already involved. So 200 people, 6 people, probably 1 sale, you know, and that might be over 2 or 3 months. That's the grind. They're not that exact numbers, but ish, right? Just like if you're a 6 out of 7 bloke, I don't know what number I am. Maybe you want to tell me in the comments down below. What would you give me? No, don't do it. I don't want you to destroy my confidence. Let's say I'm a 5 out of 10, right? Usually, if I've had any interest from women, it's because of this. Because I've opened this and run game on them. That's the truth. Just this isn't really enough. Maybe if they're super drunk, super ugly and super fat, maybe. But unfortunately, I'm not blessed with good enough looks, especially in this day and age where it's hyper competitive and people are looks maxing. I've just heard about this. The new generation of kids are looks maxing. You heard of looks maxing? Soft looks maxing, and they've got all kinds of like terms and stuff. It's fascinating. But like when they're all like on steroids, they've got perfect tans, they've got the fake teeth, they've got the perfect hair, they're looking all young and muscly and in their 20s, like, what chance has somebody like a random 4, 5, 6 out of 10 got against that level of competition? Now, one answer is this, which is what I've experienced. I'm able to use words. I'm a wordsmith, if you like. Obviously, long time since I've needed to, because I'm happily in my 13 plus year relationship with Holly, who's an absolute stunner that is so much better than I deserve. But again, refer back to this. People might think it's this, but it's not. I mean, I did pick her up in a Ferrari, and I did own a nightclub, so I'm sure it helped. It contributed. But a lot of it was this. Without this, because she hated me. If I ever told you the story of how we got together, she hated me at first. She thought I was an absolute arsehole. And fair enough, I probably was. But this got me somewhere. So anyway, random tangent. Yeah, back to my point. Nowadays, you probably got to swipe right 1,000 times, right? Before you probably get a bunch of dates. Maybe you get 10 dates off 1,000 swipes. I don't know. If you're a 5 out of 10, that's probably ratio. Swipe right 1,000 times. You tell me what the ratios are. I don't know. I've never used them. But swipe right 1,000 times. 10 chats, maybe. Maybe that turns into 5 dates. Maybe 3 of those dates don't even turn up, or they ghost you last minute, or whatever. And maybe go on actual 2 dates out of that 1,000 swipes, and maybe one of them's like just a pig and you don't ever want to see them again, the catfish, like doggers. And then maybe one of them is like, yes, you're all right, and maybe you get somewhere with it, you know? But it's 1,000 swipes. It's like a funnel. It's the same thing like with dating. Same thing with this. I put out content. Most of the content's not going to hit anything, not going to get any views, not going to go anywhere. But some of them will resonate. Some of them will get the odd views. Some of them will bring somebody into my world. They spend a period of time here and they go, I like this guy, and now I know him and I trust him. You know what? I'll jump on a call, and some people will make it into my mentorship program. Well, it's the same with SaaS, right? Whatever strategy you're using to promote your AI SaaS business, so when you're at the launch phase, the marketing phase, don't think that because you know 10 people in the space, you're going to reach out to your 10 mates, and then 8 of them are going to jump on, 7 of them are going to become perfect customers, 5 are going to be affiliates, and your business is going to blow up overnight. It doesn't work like that. It's a numbers game. You've got to put in the reps, right? Yes, there's certain strategies that are going to work better than others. So if you're going to do a cold DM strategy or a cold email, B2B email strategy, if you go, right, if you just go in with a mindset, look, I don't even care if I've got to personalize each of these messages manually, and I'm not even going to use AI to personalize them. I'm going to do the reps. One by one, I'm going to speak to 1,000 people by DM or by email, and I'm going to put in the reps. Well, you still got to track the messages that you send. So you have a spreadsheet, and you maybe send 50 people this one message, and then or 100 people this one message. And then you're going to get to know that, oh, that looks like maybe a 5% response rate, or whatever it is. 5% of the 100 actually respond to me, and maybe I get 3 people on a trial, whatever, right? So that's your numbers. And then you try and beat it. That becomes your control message. You try and beat it. So you tweak the message slightly. You send that next message to the next 100 people. Chances are you're going to get a different number. You're going to get a different percentage. Maybe on this one, and whilst it might not be statistically significant over 100 people, the idea is you try and beat the message before. So there's ways, what I'm saying is, there's ways you can optimize it. Do you do a Loom video outreach? Do you do 3 follow-ups before you essentially go, they're done? Or do you do 2 follow-ups, or do you just send 1 message? There's ways to optimize the strategy. You can use different words. Do I do a long message with a personalized first line that that tells them exactly what I've got, and accept that most of them are going to ignore it, but at least they've got the whole message? Or do I do a more personalized message that doesn't tell them what I've got, but piques their curiosity to get them to reply, and then I tell them? So there's different strategies that you can use, and depending on the niche, depending on the words you use, depending on all kinds of other stuff, you're going to get different results. So you can dial it in and you can optimize it over time. But regardless of strategy, you can't go, well, I reached out to 50 people, and only, I mean, in my client's case, 59 people, 12 people respond in positively is really, really, really good, right? It's good. Now you might look at that and go, well, that's 59 swipe rights and only 12 people have replied to me. That's amazing. That probably puts you in top 5% looks of men on dating apps. I don't know. Again, I don't know about ratios, but you tell me if you've used them. Tell me in the comments. Like, what's it like? Is it 1,000 swipes and you get 1%? Is it 1,000 swipes you get 10%? I don't know. But again, you could dial that in. If it was a dating profile, you dial it in, get your lifestyle pictures right, get like good lighting, like maybe a shirtless top, candid photo, a semi-candid photo. You're going to dial it in and you're going to get better results. It's the same with this. You can dial things in, you can tweak your approach, you can get better results. But regardless, if you think you're going to send one message to your ideal partner, ideal affiliate, they're just going to get on board because you reached out to them, that is not reality. That's not how it works. Don't beat yourself up about it. Accept it as part of the game, right? Now, when you're reaching out to affiliates, you might go, I have this perfect person, or this one, or this one. These three people, if I could get one of those three on board, game over, they blow my business up overnight. And the reality is, you're probably going to reach out to all three and not get a response off them, never mind a positive response. And you have to be all right with that. That is the game. At some point, they're going to come knocking on your door, but it might be a year or two from now when everybody's talking about your software and your affiliate program's pumping and you've dialed in a couple of unique selling points and you've got loads of users that are really happy with you. And then all of a sudden they come knocking because they remember you messaged them 2 years before and they just ignored you because they didn't know who you was, didn't trust you, didn't know all that. You weren't in the right place in time and all that stuff. But maybe they come knocking 2 years from now. It's a long game. It's a numbers game. You have to accept that when you're building any business, you're dating, you're going to the gym. There's all manner of analogies that you can use. It's not going to happen overnight, and you've got to be willing to put the reps in. You've got to be willing to go, I will try this strategy, even if it's slow, painful, clunky, difficult, horrible, rejection-filled, whatever that is. And you don't have to do rejection-filled strategies. That's one thing you don't have to do, especially in AI SaaS. But I will do this thing 1,000 times before I judge whether it is worth continuing or not. You can't go into it going, I'm going to reach out to 10 people and I think 5 of them will respond. Just think about the swipe rights. Unless you Gaston or Brad Pitt or whoever's good looking these days, you're not getting 80% of the swipe rights to like go on a date and go want to do terrible things with you behind a bike shed. You're not gonna, it's not reality, right? That's not the world we live in. You can optimize your approach, you can get better at it, but to start with, when you're starting out, maybe your market messaging is a little bit off, maybe your product market fit or your features are a little bit off, maybe you've not quite got your ideal customer profile quite dialed in, maybe there's some tweaks to make, there's some cogs to turn in a different way to get maximum results. That's expected, and that's why working with somebody like me that's entrepreneurially experienced over 2 decades, I can see these things. You're not gonna be able to see them. Like, you can tweak your approach, you can improve your results. You can start off with a really dialed in strategy that already out of the gate works way better than something that's just trial and error. Yes, you can, but you're still gonna put the reps in. You're still gonna have to do a little bit of grinding, and I call it the grind. I used to teach people how to build a Facebook group business. Loads of people have gone from zero, no Facebook group, to starting a Facebook group and getting tens of thousands of people in their Facebook group and building businesses that make them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Loads of them have done that from my training, from free training I did back in the day and paid training I did back in the day. For a while, that's what I was teaching because I definitely want to say hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe into the millions of dollars from communities online. Simple communities that are started for free, built up, and then monetized. Like, it's just one of my skill sets, right? And I taught other people to do it. And in that training, one of the things I talked about was the grind. That's what I called it. Because you don't have to grind forever. At some point, the AI SaaS business, or any SaaS business, will become a lot more passive. It's recurring revenue, it happens month after month. You can get affiliates, you can get ads, you can get organic content out there, social content. There's loads of different promotion strategies you can do. And each one of them builds on the last and compounds, and eventually you just get to a breaking point. Sometimes they use an analogy of a dam. These are your customers filling up the water, and you're just chipping away at this wall. At some point, like at first, it feels like just nothing you can do sends any customers, but then at some point, when you're chipping away at it, it springs a leak. And then the leak, because of the pressure of the water behind it, starts to get bigger and bigger. And at some point, the dam breaks and there's nothing you can do. Your business explodes. That's how it is. But at first, it feels like nothing you can do will break that dam. And that is the grind. You are going to grind. You're going to have to put the reps in. You can't go to the gym one time and come out with a muscular frame looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, that's going to take you years and probably tons of steroids. But that's going to take you years to get big, right? It's just going to take you years. There's no shortcut in it. Yeah, there is strategies. You can train better, you can eat better, you can sleep better, you can take steroids, whatever. You can get bigger faster, but you can't skip the gym. There's no press a button and then you get pumped. Just like you can't do that in business either. Very few businesses are able to just press a button and there's all the customers. And sometimes that does happen when your offer's perfect and you've just got a couple of things dialed in. And usually, beginner entrepreneurs think that that's how business is and it's going to stay forever, and it never does. You know, so if you are one of the lucky ones that springs that leak of the dam and it just comes really fast, which I've seen it many times before, if you are that person, trust me, it never lasts, right? So enjoy it while it does and capitalize on it while it does. But for most people, you are going to have to chip away at it. You are going to have to swipe right maybe 10,000 times. You are going to have to send those cold DMs or whatever strategy you're doing. You're going to have to put in the reps, whether that's SEO, blogs, even though you can automate them with AI and you can get it posted every day and it can do it automated, you still got to set it up. You still got to do these things, and it's not going to happen overnight. Nothing in business is going to happen overnight. And if it does, you are one of the very lucky few, right? But you don't have to be lucky to get success in business. You just have to be willing to put in the reps, put in the effort, and keep going. Don't quit, and just accept that whether you like it or not, whatever strategy you do, it's a numbers game. Thanks for watching. See you next time.